Hey, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. A very good evening to everyone. We'll be starting with our session now that we have people here. People who are coming in for the very first time, let me quickly introduce what we are doing here, what this session is about. This is a part of Apna's Community Exclusives, and we primarily have these sessions every day from 7 p.m. in the evening to help you improve your career and help you in your professional growth. We cover a wide range of topics like spoken English, interview preparation, helping you build your resume, covering different technical topics. हिंदी में भी एक बार क्विकली बता देता हूँ, हम आज का सेशन अपना कम्युनिटी एक्सक्लूसिव्स के अंदर करते हैं। ये सेशन हम करते हैं ताकि आप अपनी प्रोफेशनल एंड करियर में ग्रो कर सके। हम स्पोकन इंग्लिश से लेके टेक्निकल स्किल्स, इंटरव्यू प्रेप, काफी सारे सब्जेक्ट्स हम कवर करते हैं। आज का जो हमारा सेशन है वो प्रोग्राम मैनेजर रोल के ऊपर है। Today's session is about the role of program manager, and for that we have Prerna here with us. She's a senior program manager at Samsung, and she's been a mentor to countless young freshers and graduates who are trying to navigate their career space and trying to understand how they can excel in their own professional growth. So we are very grateful to have Prerna here. Prerna, welcome to the session. Thank you so much for joining in. आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि आज के सेशन में आपको कुछ चीजें सीखने को मिलेंगी और आपको करियर में आगे बढ़ने में मदद होगा। Over to you, Prerna. Why don't you quickly introduce the session and let people know about you?
I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
So hello everyone. My name is Prerna Soni. I am a technical program manager in Samsung Research Institute in Noida. This is a senior role for most organizations, but I have seen people, from freshers to, mid to seniors, everyone who can do this job. If I tell you about myself, I joined this industry 12 years ago as a developer. And though developers is a favorite role for engineers, I never thought that the role was a good fit for me. So then I, took some courses, got some skills, and pivoted into project management. And I think this role is a much better fit for me, and not just for me, for all others who do not, have the necessary skill set or do not have that much interest in taking up DSA courses and getting into coding. I think this role is for people who are great in communication skills, who are great in gelling with people. So people skills, technical skills, communication skills. If you think you have that, you can be a good fit for a TPM role. It is a very high paying role as well, and it is a very easy way to get into great product based companies. But the catch is not a lot of people know about this role. What is a TPM? What is a technical program manager role? How can I get into this? And I would like to thank Apna because through this session they are spreading awareness about this role and helping countless freshers get into this role, get into their dream companies and careers. So I'll be starting with my presentation, and I'll tell all of you what this role is all about, how you can get started, how you can get placed in your dream companies. And just a quick tally, is everybody comfortable with English, or do we switch, or we keep it Hindi and English both? So Dipanjan just took a poll on that.
Yeah. Please, आप chat पे बता दीजिए if you're comfortable in English. If you are not, mention which language you're comfortable in. So we'll try to keep a mix of both Hindi and English. हम हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों का ही mix करके use करेंगे ताकि सबको चीजें समझ आए. So we'll be using a mix of both. Yeah, I think a lot of people are comfortable in English, so you can keep that as a primary language, and then in case someone is finding it difficult, we might translate a few in Hindi as well. Okay. Also, one small thing, we will, if you have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to add it in the chat. We'll take note of it and we'll take breaks in between to answer those questions. We'll also give you opportunities to ask questions by unmuting yourself. We'll have a dedicated Q&A section as well. So throughout the session, you can keep your mics on mute and use the chat to ask any question that you have. We'll give you opportunities to ask and clarify all your doubts. Yeah. Please go ahead, Prerna.
Let me just, share my screen. I hope it is visible, Dipanjan.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So let's start with talking about, what is a TPM. So TPM basically stands for Technical Program Manager. And I will quickly tell you what is a technical program manager, because most of you will not probably be knowing. So let's break it down to three things. First is technical. So anybody who wants to be in this role needs to be a very technical person, not in the way that you will be required to code or you will write programs or anything, but you need to understand what the engineers are saying. You need to talk to a lot of engineers. You kind of would have daily meetings with them. So if you do not understand what they are saying, you need to know what a server is, you need to know what a database is, maybe how to communicate between a database and a server and a client. So things like that, basic technical details is something that you would want to catch upon if you want to be a technical program manager. The second word is program. Now, I understand program might be a difficult word for you to understand. So let's start small. Let's start with a project, right? Everybody understands what a project is. It is sort of a temporary undertaking we take to, temporary efforts we take to deliver a certain goal. For example, temporarily you can do efforts to get a job. In that case, your goal of the project is to get a job. Now what a program is it is like a set of interrelated projects. So again, a technical program manager would be someone who will be managing not just one product, not just one project, but a list of interrelated projects. So program is just a bunch of projects. And then the word manager is self-explanatory. In terms of TPM, it refers to manage, being able to manage teams, being able to manage cross-functional teams, being able to manage stakeholders, and managing the documentation, managing your project plans. So basically, the entire delivery of the project from end to end will be on you if you are a technical program manager. I've also highlighted some other responsibilities. For example, you will solely be responsible for your project success. So there'll be a whole team that is working for you, but you are the one who is going to be, held responsible by the management. So if anything goes wrong, you will be the first person of contact for them. They will ask you what's wrong. You will be the one to fix everything. You will also be the one to manage expectations of every stakeholder. That means you will have to set up weekly schedules, weekly meetings with a lot of your stakeholders, make sure everybody is aligned, make sure if there are any differences, if there is any blockers, you need to address it. You will also be responsible for documentation and understanding your project, understanding how will you measure your project success. For example, you can measure your project by the amount of customers you get, or in the case of Facebook, you can measure the amount of hours people spend on your application. So what metrics is important to your project? How will you report it? How will you track it? That is also your job. Basically, your job is leading the entire project, from project planning to execution to tracking to its end-to-end delivery. Everything will be your domain. Here we have some companies that are hiring for this role, and keep in mind this is a very small set of companies that I have mentioned. There are countless others. For example, mang companies, Meta, Amazon, Google, Netflix, Hotstar, Microsoft, everybody nowadays is hiring technical program managers. The only exception being very small startups who have very small number of people working from them. They might not still have a need for technical program managers. As soon as the company grows to a certain level, they hire a lot of technical program managers, because when you grow, your team grows, and it's very difficult to get a hold of all of your stakeholders and derive any project. So every company, every big digital company out there is hiring technical program managers, from small service-based companies, to big giants like TCS, Capgemini, to proper product-based companies like Google and Hotstar, everybody is hiring for this role. It is a very sought-after role, and there's not a lot of competition till now, because there are few people in this role, and those people are also very senior folks, so they will be charging insanely high amounts. So it's a very good idea for people with lesser experience or freshers to get into a field like this, because companies, especially growing companies, are looking for for project managers, uh, you know uh, who can get hired for comparatively lesser salaries. So it's a very good opportunity for anybody who's looking for job roles in this market right now.
Prerna, if you are okay, we can take a few questions
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
get started, I
Let's
think.
take a few questions.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure. So I think one question which people wanted to understand is regarding the qualification and eligibility for these roles. And also, if someone is from a non-technical background, then is it possible for them to get into this?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good question. And the trend has started going up for this. Probably 5 years ago, only technical people were getting interested in this role. But program manager, once you get the hang of program manager, managing people, managing documentation, you can apply these skills in any domain. So not just technical, probably people in manufacturing or people in banking, all of them are having project managers and program managers. So even though you're not from a technical background, you can skip the technical part and you can apply for program manager roles. It's the same thing, it's just the domain will be different. So instead of technical knowledge in terms of technical program manager, you will be required to have the knowledge of your particular chosen domain. So if you are from manufacturing, you might be having some knowledge about manufacturing. If you are from banking or insurance, you need to have some knowledge on those areas. So you can choose your domain and then choose a program manager role according to your skill set and your experience. As per the eligibility criteria, I have seen, even freshers, MB graduates, BTech graduates, getting roles like TPM, even in FANG companies like Meta. So it is very possible for people with very little experience also to get roles like that. But you have to keep in mind that you have to be skilled. So you have to be very good at communication. You have to be very good at understanding the needs of a project and explaining them to people. So if you're good in that, if you can work with people, how to derive solutions, you can be a problem solver, then companies will hire you. That is the eligibility mainly for this role.
Yeah. And one last question is are there any targets and pressure that comes along with this job?
Okay. So again, with every sort of a role, there will be some sort of targets and pressure. For this role, I would not say there are targets as such, but there are expectations from the management to basically help your team to grow and perform well. So if your team is not performing well, if they are consistently showing bad result, that will reflect on you, and you will be asked to talk to them, you will be asked to help them improve. And that is why it's called a problem solver role. So you will have to go up to them, you will have to kind of find out techniques, where are we lacking, how do we improve this, do I get people from elsewhere, or do I take up any trainings for the team to improve. So these are some decisions that you will have to take. So I guess when you talk about pressure, there will be pressure when a team is not performing, and that is where you come in. That is why this role is there, to solve the problems. So you will be the problem solver in that sense. There will be some pressure to solve the problems, but that's the nature of the job, I guess.
Yeah, I think we are good to go now. I think this question you already addressed, but maybe we can pick this up later also. Lava, if I'm not sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, he's asked about the fresher role, right? So like the companies that we've mentioned mostly require experienced people. So if a person is fresher, do they still have an opportunity there?
So for freshers, I have seen lesser opportunities in this domain, but the nomenclature is different for freshers. For example, they will not probably give you a project right out the bat, but or a program, a whole of the program to manage, but they can give you a project, or keep you working under a project manager. So you can look for associate project manager or associate program manager roles for freshers. But the skill set and everything will be the same as a TPM. You just have to start from a lesser role and then move up the ladder.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I think we are good to go for now.
Okay. So, continuing with our presentation, let us go for the roles and responsibilities. What does a TPM actually do? So in a project, there are a lot of stakeholders. For example, there will be a development team who will be developing your product. There will be a testing team who will be testing it. There will be a marketing team. There will be a go-to launch team. There will be a research team, a user team that represents the users. Maybe there's a legal team also involved. So there's so many stakeholders, and it is very hard for just engineers to manage it all on themselves. So that is the responsibility of technical program managers. They will have meetings with all of these people. They will understand who is expecting what out of the project, who needs what at what time. So the entire project planning, talking with stakeholders, getting everybody on tracks falls to you. Once the project is planned, how to track it so that it stays on the plan, that is your part. Project landing. When we talk about project landing, once a project is launched, you still have expectations from them. For example, a Facebook might think that they want every user to at least spend 1 hour, in their platform. So that might be a metric for them, user engagement for 1 hour. So that is what is called landing. Even after your launch, your project might miss the target, so you have to keep on tracking your project and make sure that it lands. Metric reporting, as I covered, you have to find out what are the measurements for your project and you have to report it to the management. If there is something that is blocking your project, if there is any kind of conflict, you need to get it addressed. There might be team conflict, there might be, legal or marketing conflicts. That is something that you will have to work with the team. You don't have to do anything yourself, but you have to work with the entire team and make sure that the project is a success. In that, that will include, working with clients, working with the team, or that also includes working on tools to help track the team. For example, Jira, Excel, Confluence. There are so many tools that different organizations are using. It's not important that you know all of them, but at least one should be known to you so that you can at least communicate your ideas clearly to the team. So that covers up mainly all the roles and responsibilities that a TPM might have. Right. I've also covered, at any job, it's very important to know how your typical day would look like. So for a TPM, 56 to 60% of your day is spent in meetings. In meetings, you might be planning your project, or you might be taking status update meetings from your stakeholders. You might be, giving a demo of your product, or you might be getting feedbacks from your customers. So everything, if there is any blocker, again, you'll have to meet with every team member, see what is going to be done. So 60% of the day is spent in meetings, and then around 40% of the day is spent as a work block. For example, you checking your mails, you checking the chats for what are the issues, you keeping up with the documentation, you updating the Jira dashboards. So all of that will be your work block. These are some pay trends for TPM for some past years. If not looking at those, but if I talk about 2024, the trend has seen a bit of a downfall because in the COVID era, the salaries were soaring very high. After that, the economy has been a bit slowed down, so our prospects have also gone down, but it is expected to rise in the last quarter of 2024, and it is also expected to rise in the 2025 as well. So right now is a very good time to prepare for it and to prepare yourself for the next season of placements. So the trend is looking upwards, and you should too. Here I have mentioned some of the skills that any person who is starting out with TPM role, who wants to get into a TPM role probably in the next 3-4 months, would want to undertake. The first thing that you will need to work upon is your communication skills. And when I say communication, it's not just about conversing in English or being able to speak. It's about trying to understand what the issue is, trying to understand what the other person is saying, trying to understand where they are coming from, and also negotiating a little because you also have KPIs. So, you have to, at the end of the day, make them understand your viewpoint and make them agree to you. So that sort of communication is needed. You have to play it smart when it comes to being a TPM. Second thing, most organizations take behavioral rounds in any management interviews, and TPM is no exception. So they are going to ask you about times, even if you're a fresher, they are going to ask you about times when you handled the conflict, or when you handled a failure, or what was the biggest success of your life, things like that. And you have to come up with stories for such events. For example, when you failed badly, how did you fail? What did you do to improve? So we have certain frameworks, on how to answer these questions. And if you go through them, and if you practice properly, you will be able to clear these rounds. Then there are also scenario based rounds where they will give you a situation. For example, two of your team members are having a bit of a struggle with each other. How are you going to solve it? What are you going to do? So they're going to give you different scenarios, and you have to be in the shoes of a TPM and try to solve the situation. So I think scenario based questions are the easiest in my opinion. You have to just use your common sense and your understanding, being a problem solver, and try to gauge the problem and come up with a solution. If you're a problem solver, if you are a critical thinker, you will be able to do that very again. If you are expecting to interview for uh, major product based companies, for mang sort of companies, they will also take a system designs round. That is why I said technical knowledge is important for this role. For all other companies, a bit of a technical knowledge will be fine. But for mang, because we're taking the top 5 companies, they will also be taking a system design round. So those who are ambitious and want to go for mang, they will also have to prepare for system design. Apart from that, let's talk solely about project management, program management roles. To interview for those, you basically need to know about certain things. First would be agile. When I don't know how many of you know what an agile project management is. If you do not, just put up a question. I will be happy to explain. But for right now, I'm assuming you know. So you will have to go through what is project management, what is agile, what is waterfall. So these are the most important questions. These are some courses that you'll have to take, or you'll have to go through some research of your own and get started. And I think if you cover those in great detail, what an agile is, what is project management, what is waterfall, you will be able to have the basic knowledge of what project management is all about. Panjan, just let me know if there's any question around agile. I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, I think there are. Apart from Agile, there's also other questions. So we can take a break and maybe answer those questions quickly.
Yeah, let's answer the questions.
Yeah. So I'll go one by one. So the first question was, I think, regarding the lines in the graph there. You showed a graph regarding the pay scale, right? So someone wanted to understand what that represents. Uh, yeah.
So those were like the graph was regarding the lower and the higher end salaries. So when talking about these kind of roles, certain roles are entry level and certain roles are very senior levels. If I talk about the pay range, they might range from probably 12 lakhs. They might start from 12 lakhs, and they might even go till 50, 60, even 1 crore for a person who has experience. So there's a whole range, and that is why I showed those two lines, because it was to show just one line for an occupation which has such diverse experiences was not fair, and that is why I showed those two lines. But talking about it, you can ignore those two lines. What you really should take from the graph is that the trend for both of those was looking upwards in 2024. And that means even if you're a fresher, or even if you have experience, if you get the necessary skills right now, at least till the last quarter of this year, these roles will be increasing in pay scale. So it's a good timeline to actually get upskilled on such roles, and take up some courses or mentorship and get started with it.
Yeah. So the next question is more in lines of, as a fresher, is there any specific courses that a person should take up for a role like this?
So as a fresher, I would not suggest a course right away. I mean, yes, you can take courses. I can suggest a few courses. For example, there is one called one by Mario Giral, Technical Program Management, and it's not a video course. It's mostly text based, but it covers a whole lot of range on what is agile, what is project management, what is the expectations from this role. It also has a few technical concepts in there. Geeks for Geeks is also coming up with a course for TPM, so that also is a good resource. We have a Google project management course as well, but I do not recommend that because it's a very long course, and it's very detailed, but I haven't come across industries who are using project management in that detail, so would not recommend that one. But the other two are good courses. What I have found out in my experience is, better than a course, you should go for a mentorship, because interviews for these sort of roles, they are not based on your knowledge only. They will not ask you what is agile, they will not ask you what is project management. They will ask you about what is your skill set and what is your experience with it, and for that you will have to come up with curated answers. So probably only mentors will be able to help you guide your answers and shape your answers in a better way. So mentorships are more suited for these kind of roles, but you can go for courses as well, depending on how you learn and what is your preferred method of learning.
Yeah. The next question is, yeah, they is basically an add-on on like the non-technical role. Like if someone is in a non-technical role, like there's a person who's currently in sales. Their role was a team leader. They were selling credit cards, postpaid connections, and yeah, they have experience in this as a team leader. So is it possible for them to transition into this role?
Yes. So, in the past year, I have seen TPMs, especially very big companies asking for TPMs for program managers for very specific role. For example, they want a program manager for sales. They want a program manager for marketing. They want a program manager for reverse delivery, which is pickups and everything. So they're very specific into what they want, because most PMs in the market are very generalized. So they will just say that I have experience in the financial sector. But companies are getting very specific. So even if you have a very specific experience, if you take on those skills, you will be able to transition. But again, for transitioning, having your specific experience, I would ask every one of you to research well about what are the kind of roles companies are looking for. Go on Apna, go on job search portals, and search for your specific domains in program management, and see what is the traction. How many companies are hiring for such roles, and then go on and take the effort.
Okay. And the next question is regarding the payroll. So as a fresher, is there any estimate of how much person can expect?
So, as a fresher, first of all, it will depend on the company you are interviewing with. For example, if you are interviewing for a service-based company, and probably you're not from a very renowned college, they might give you a lower end salary. So something along 9-10 lakhs probably. But if you are interviewing for some startup, or you're interviewing for a product based company, they will of course for these sort of roles pay you much better for this. So depends on your role. What I have seen, even entry level people, at least 12 to 15 lakhs you can easily get. But it also depends on how you perform in your interview. So they might downgrade you if you're not performing well, and they might upgrade you also if you perform really well. So that depends on your skill set and everything.
Yeah, I think we
I
have
have
come.
seen people, a fresher who went into Meta, and his salary was about 55. So you have those kind of results as well. Depends on your preparation, I guess.
Yeah, I think we've covered the questions that came on chat. If you want, we can take a question from the audience as well right now if they are open
Yeah,
up.
sure.
Yeah. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question? You can unmute yourself and ask the question. अगर कोई unmute करके कुछ सवाल पूछना चाहे तो एक बार पूछ सकता है. Any other additional question? Anything that people want to ask?
Hello.
Yeah, Saptarshi, please go ahead.
Uh, I was asking, is the minimum experience required? Said freshers are holding now. So minimum work experience required. Minimum work is minimum work experience required. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, but your voice is breaking. Can you repeat once more?
Yeah, I'm asking, is the minimum work is required? Somebody
Minimum
has
work
to
experience required.
Yeah.
work to yeah, minimum.
So you're asking about the minimum experience required. See, it depends on a lot of companies. As I said, Facebook did hire someone who was just out of college. So for that, the experience was none. But usually, they want you to have at least 1 2 years of experience. Most people, they're transitioning into project management, so sometimes they have to kind of modify their CVs to kind of include more skills from project management. And you can very well say that I was in a different role, but I do have the skills of project management because I applied those skills in that role, and they will be able to take you because domain is not that specific, for most of these cases. But it depends for company to company. Startups usually are more accommodating, and they will be able to take you on for these roles. Service based companies, I think, are the least accommodating in those criterias, and they will ask you for at least 2 3 years of experience. Product based, again, it depends. If you have the good technical knowledge, if you have good project management knowledge, they might make an exception, and they will take you on even if you do not have the required experience. So go ahead and apply. You might still receive a call, but make sure you do have the skills to clear the interviews.
Yeah. All right. I think that's about all the questions that we have right now. We can continue, and then if something else comes up, we can take that up as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here on, I have kind of given you a whole mix of how the career progression for a TPM would look like. Most people, from a developer to a tech lead, then go on to become associate project managers. You can also become associate project managers, right off the bat, as a fresher or with just 1 2 years of experience. Once you have some experience as an associate project manager, you can then go on to become project managers, then program managers. And once you're a program manager, you can be a senior program manager, principal program manager, and then eventually a portfolio manager. uh, then some companies have director of program management, vice president of program management. They might even make you service delivery leaders, head of engineering. So the post and the progression might be different for certain companies. But the good thing about this role is that it's fairly easier to transition into any of those roles. For example, you have never been an associate project manager, you have never been a project manager, you can still become a program manager. If you get the necessary skills, you can transition. So that is why I said it's easier to get into FANG with this role, because all you need to do is get the acquired skill set, and your experience might not matter, because in every role that you would have done, even as a fresher, you might have some skills of leadership, some skills of communication, negotiation, and you can build stories around that as well. So it depends on how you perform in the interviews, how you are good with your stories, and you can actually crack this role pretty easily. So that is the career progression. Again, for somebody who has nailed being a leader in the corporate industry, once you are into a leadership role, the sky is the limit for you. You can choose your own growth. You can change companies and get to vice president or director of engineering very quickly through this role. Here I have mentioned how anyone can bag roles like this. The first and the easiest method probably is about mentorships, talking to people who are already in this role, getting some one-to-one mentorship or some personal guidance, creating your own questionnaires, creating on your stories, and getting some experienced TPM to kind of curate those stories, review those stories, do your mock interviews. And that probably is the easiest way to get into roles like this. Then again, you have the traditional ways. You can take up courses, but you will have to take several different courses. You will have to take project management, you will have to take up Scrum or Agile, you will also have to take some system design interviews. So, these are some things that you will have to know. There are also some certifications that might give your CV an edge. For example, we have PMP. It's a very traditional project management certification. We also have the comparatively newer CSM and PSM certifications. Uh, Comparatively, CSM, PSM certifications are easier to get into. You can just spend a weekend doing some classes, and they are easy certifications, and it's very easy to embellish your CV with these certifications with that. Another way, without all the courses, without all the certifications, if you do have the experience for this role, if you are a technical lead somewhere, or if you are in a leadership position somewhere, or if you just have a lot of experience and you might have gained those skills from your experience, then it is also easier to get into this role through lateral transfers in your own company. So that is also something that you can look at if you want to be a TPM. Here I have listed down some tips, if you want to become a TPM, how do you want to perform in interviews? Firstly, you have to be extremely succinct. That means you have to say what you want to say in a very concise manner. This role revolves around, communication. And since there are 60% of the day will be spent on meetings, so you have to make sure that the meetings do not run large and wild. You have to end them early. And how will you do that? By making sure that the communication is clear and it's crisp. And that is why they, judge that in the interviews. So be very concise in the interviews. Secondly, you have to craft your stories, and the framework we use to craft those stories is STAR framework. So do drop a question in the chat if you want to know what a STAR framework is. It's just a technique we all use in interviews to craft those stories, and it's not limited to program management interviews. Any kind of management interviews, you should look up into what is a STAR framework to answer management questions. Again, clear, concise, crisp communication is the key for this job and this interview. Fourth step is very important. Every time they will ask you a question, it might be scenario based, it might be general. Make sure you're telling them that you're not making decisions wildly or on a hunch. You have to make data driven decisions. So you make sure to collect enough data and then apply some strategy and take those decisions. Don't just take decisions because you're required to make them. Have enough data to prove that you were right. uh, Fifth is that the interviews can be tricky, they can be long, they can have multiple rounds. So you have to have a very open mindset and be very solution oriented. More than skill set, more than knowledge, it helps to have a very open mind in the interviews, listen very carefully, ask a lot of clarifying questions in the interview, and then answer. Take some time to answer if you do not know it. Take some time, think it over, and then answer very properly. That is very important in TPM interviews. Sixth is it is a leadership role, it is a senior role. So you have to be an exceptional leader, and that should reflect in your attitude, in your communication, and even in your stories. So when you're crafting stories or when you're telling anything to them, uh, you know, see yourself as a leader, envision yourself as a leader, and then say anything. They have to think of you as a leader and not just a follower. So keep that in mind when you're interviewing for such roles. Any sort of management or leadership roles they would want you to be a leader. And that is also some core values that a lot of product companies actually interview you for. So leadership is a very important trait to have if you want to have a good career. Especially a specialized trip just for the ambitious people out here who want to crack mang, who want to crack product based companies. There might be bar raiser rounds. There are bar raiser rounds in DSA interviews, in system design interviews. Similarly, there are bar raiser interviews in TPM rounds. What they want to see is that that this candidate needs to be better than at least 60% of their current workforce, of their current TPMs. So, they might give you a problem which their own TPMs are solving right now, and see how you are thinking, how you are, how better, or how you're worse than the already existing ones. So there are bar raiser rounds. So you have to be very prepared if you want to, go for a role like this. And I think that was all from my side, like what this role entailed and everything. If there are any questions, I am happy to take.
Yeah. We'll start with the questions that came in the chat and then we'll go with the other ones. Yeah. The first question is if you have any suggestions for platforms to, apply for these jobs. Now, I understand a lot of these jobs might not be available very well on Apna. So if there's anything other platform that's there that they can try for, please, any suggestions if you have.
Uh, More than job portals, I think these kind of jobs, you can go on LinkedIn. And when I say go on LinkedIn, I do not mean go on the jobs and search for jobs and easy apply. That will not get you those kind of jobs. You have to build a network. For example, if you want to get into Google, if you want to go get into probably Sopra, companies like that, you get connected with people from these companies, send them requests on LinkedIn, and as soon as you see a job opening for such roles, request people to give you a referral. Also on LinkedIn, instead of just searching the jobs, you also search the posts that people do. A lot of startups and a lot of hiring managers also invite people to apply directly or through referrals. So search on LinkedIn, program managers, and search on posts, and you will see there are a lot of companies are hiring and they are sharing their email IDs for you to send your CVs. So applying that way might give you a better chance than just blindly applying by easy apply on LinkedIn. So that will be my expert advice. Network with a lot of people, search on LinkedIn posts, and you should be better than at least 50% of the candidates out there.
Okay. The next question is regarding work portfolio. So does this role require creating any work portfolios or something that would help them?
No, see, work portfolios are majorly required for coding rounds, for showcasing your coding knowledge. But this is not a role where you are the eminent worker. You are not working for the project. You are working to collaborate. The team members who are working on the project. So you do not need any portfolio. What you can do is mention some keywords in your CV or some project names in your CV that you have worked on. That is something where you can show your experience, but not a portfolio as such.
Okay. And yeah, I think the next question is regarding the agile term that you mentioned, right? So is that something that you can elaborate on a bit?
Okay.
No.
So traditionally, when we used to do project management, we used to be very clear and concise from the starting. So we used to talk to clients. We used to write their requirements. We used to gather their requirements, create documents, have them signed off, and then start the whole execution process and everything. That doesn't work in today's world anymore, because if I say I will take about an year to develop something, in that year there might be other companies who will want to get a similar project, or the requirements might change. So that is why companies adopted agile. What agile does is that you do not have a comprehensive list of requirements from the starting. You might have some requirements, they might not be very clear, but that is how you start. You start documenting, you start executing the project, and as and when you develop little pieces of software, you give it to the customer, they use it, they give you feedback, and then sprint by sprint or time with time, you kind of rectify your requirements, you rectify your projects. So it is a very repetitive and collaborative form of development. You're in talks with the customer all the time. Every time you're for example, you have to give them 100% of the project at the end of the year. Every month you will be giving them some percentage of your project, and then they will use it, and then they will give you feedback, and the next month you will incorporate that feedback into your project. So you're improving your project time by time. So that is what agile is. It is basically adapting to change in project management, and that is what about 90% of the companies are using nowadays.
Okay. I think there's some confusion with that question related to work portfolio. I think the question what they meant was what work does portfolio manager include? So Mansi, if you are on call, you can unmute yourself and also ask the question if you wanted to clarify. Okay. While we wait, we can take.
Am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she mentioned profile management, right? When the skills and something like that in some picture, I guess. I maybe just let me recall once. Was it?
I'll tell you. I think it was probably
Yeah,
this
it was
slide.
career progression. Yeah.
Yeah.
Career progression.
Yeah.
Right. You're talking about portfolio manager, right?
Yeah. What does it include? Matlab, what work has to be done as a portfolio manager? I
Got
just
it.
want to give an idea.
I'll probably explain with an example. It might be easier to understand. For example, let's assume I'm in a logistics company. I am asking retail companies to come with me, and I will, my project will deliver their goods and pick up their goods from the customer, and they have to do nothing. So a project manager is someone who will, go to one customer, and they will onboard one customer, and he will do the project for them. My project will manage the delivery and the pickups and everything for this customer. Now, a program manager would manage the entire fleet of such customers. For example, a Flipkart, a Myntra, a Myntra, Adidas, a lot of these stores, I am doing the pickup and delivery for all of these products. So that is my program. Now, what is a portfolio manager? He is a step above. So now, instead of Flipkart, Myntra, all these shopping e-commerce sites, I also go to the, brand, for example, Mango or, Only, and I tell them also to come into my fleet, and I will deliver. So basically the scope increases. The work is the same, but the scope of work is increasing with every career progression. Project manager is handling probably one or, two projects. Program manager is maintaining a whole fleet of projects, and he might have different project managers reporting to him. A portfolio manager is probably managing an entire area. For example, the whole Asia Pacific regions, a lot of retailers are coming in under a portfolio manager. So he has several program managers who are reporting to him, and then he is reporting to, the vice president or the director, that, for this region we are 60% done or 50% done. So the scope of work will differ basis if you are a program manager or portfolio manager or even a vice president. The work will probably be more or less the same.
Okay. Okay. One more thing. There was some technical design mentioned.
Yes,
And
system design, technical.
yeah. So what does it require any kind of like what is it exactly? Matlab, I understand if I connect it with the engineers, I feel it like they create designs and all. Is it related to that, or is it something else? Like what
Okay.
design it is? What do you
Again, let
exactly have
me
to
go with
design?
an example. For example, if you're talking to an engineer about, why he hasn't done his work or something, so he will tell you that, I was working, but the API was not giving me the correct response. It was giving me 400 error, or the integration part of it was not working, or I could not send the token was not being sent. So you need to understand what is a token, what is an API, what is a URL, uh, what is a postman. So they will be using all these jargons, and because you
Yes,
are to have meetings with them daily, you will not be able to understand them if you do not know all of these jargons. So that is what is meant by, you have to understand their technical jargon a little bit. What is a client, what is a server, what is a request, how you send a request, what is an API, how do you communicate with different servers. So these are some things that you have to teach yourself about technical. And when I say system design, it's a broader topic on the how systems that you use, for example, if you use Instagram, for example, if you use a WhatsApp, how are these systems designed? Like, what are the different services that you might be needing? If you're using Amazon, how is Amazon designed? What are the different services? For
that
example,
is to UI UX designs, right?
UI
If I'm not
UX, not
wrong.
just UI UX, how is it even working in the back end? For example,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're logging in, there might be somewhere a user service who is authenticating you. So you need to have that. You don't need to get into details. You will never be asked to design it, but you just need to understand engineers, and that
Understand.
is why
Okay.
these interviews are taken. You never have to do that work yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I think another question is from Mansi itself, which is this something that can be done from home? Like, is it a work from home job also?
Yes, there are remote jobs as well. A lot of startups for those sort of organizations, it's 100% report. For some organizations, it's probably 2 days from our office, because most of this role will never require you to be 5 days in an office, because there's a lot of meetings, and if you have to take up the meetings, you cannot be restrained within office hours. You might have to take up meetings early in the morning, or probably late in the evening. So a technical 9 to 5 would not suit. So that is why most of these jobs, 2 days work from office or 100% remote is very common in these sort of jobs.
Okay. There's another question from Joshua. He's asked that can you get into TPM after BBA?
Yes, you can. Although most people would, prefer an MBA rather than a BBA. But again, for an associate project manager or a program manager, you can apply for it. Some people are specifically looking for business graduates, because this role varies from organization to organization. Some organizations want a PM who understands more of the business side. So in those cases, they might take BBA as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've covered almost all the questions out there. If anything is missed out, or if you miss out on anything, something that you still want to know, please let us know. We'll probably have time for one more question. So if you have any other queries, anything else that you want to
Hello.
clarify, yeah, please,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
So, yeah, as as we have discussed about, there is a discussion between the request and URL. In there is a status called post and get, which is under
Yes.
the. So that was the technical jargon you are talking about the. Yeah, I'm asking about any logs actually, web pages browse for e-commerce company, right?
So that was just an example, but apart from that, there might be a lot of things. How do you communicate between? How do you communicate? So through APIs, synchronously, asynchronously. So engineers use a lot of jargon. So the intent for you is to understand, to be able to understand what they are saying. You would need to understand the concepts behind them, because they cannot explain you. You need to understand what is cloud, not into very much detail, but just so you know what they're talking about. You have to get a very broad sense of technical design, maybe through a course, maybe through mentorships, or maybe just through blogs, or on Medium articles or whatever. You can get that knowledge. You do not need to take up courses, but you need to be able to understand system design. So you have to kind of get upskilled in that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because so many things are there, kernel version, OS, so many,
No,
and
no,
as I have a technical
on that
background.
level of detail is not required.
Okay, that's how much.
Yeah,
That's what my
kernel OS
question.
is not required.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to ask?
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Uh, Hi Dipanjan ji. Hi Prerna ji.
Hi.
Good
Yeah.
evening.
Good evening.
So my question is, several times we have discussed, but for my clarification, I have to ask. I have working in according to 3 to 4 years, but in sales and marketing. I have no technical background. I'm only simple graduate. But can I do or apply for that job by the course? Some course suggest for me.
Okay, so in your case, Raghubar, I would not rely on a course. You first look for jobs specifically in your area. For example, in sales and marketing, you said you look for jobs for sales program manager or marketing program manager. See what they're looking for, and if then you find out any course that is catering to that, then you take it, or you go for a mentor, in your domain who can guide you better. That will be a best bet. Do not take up courses and waste your money. They might not be a good fit for you. So do your research and then go for it, I would say.
No, wherever I research for that, I want where
Sorry, I did not get it.
where I have to research for that.
So for example, on jobs search portals on LinkedIn, you search for, which companies are looking for sales program manager or marketing program manager, and you will find it on LinkedIn, because I have seen that probably 1 or 2 days before. So you will definitely find it. And then you go for, if there's someone who can guide you, maybe someone who's already a sales program manager in LinkedIn, connect with them, ask them if they can give you guidance, and that will be a better bet for you.
Okay. Now, I've several time I look maximum time. So they have need experience on that particular post, but I have only sales or like BDM. I have last experience in my business development manager in HDFC Life Insurance, right? So thereafter I'm in home there, but I something look around in LinkedIn or other Apna, like other job
I
apps.
got your question. They might be asking you for relevant experience.
Yeah,
And
right.
yeah, so
Right.
in that case, what you want to do is, as a business development manager, you might be already having those skills. It's just that
Mm.
the term might be different. You have a business development manager, they are looking for a project or a program manager. In that case, you will have to modify your CV to, customize your CV to better suit the job.
Yes.
So you can do that. It's no problem in that. Nobody kind of is verifying what was the name of the post that you're working for. They will just be verifying your experience. So if you have the skill sets, go ahead, change the name of your post, and still apply. There's
Okay.
no rule that is stopping you from doing that.
Thank you, Pranav. Thank
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think with that we come towards the end of today's session. So I'll quickly come towards the conclusion bit. Before that, Prerna, if
I
you
have a question. I have a question.
Amit, I think we won't have any more time today. You can ask the question on chat. We'll try to pick it up.
Just a simple question. Just a
Sure.
simple question.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever experience I had, I don't want to be in a marketing or sales. I just want to into this program manager.
Okay.
So what will you suggest me to do? I don't have technical background. I just want to be in this field.
So your best bet is, talk to people who are already in this role. I have mentioned my LinkedIn in the chat. So go ahead, ask questions, and we will be able to help you. Just upskill, and there is no limit. You can always upskill yourself and get into the role of your choice. It's all up to you. How willing are you to put in the efforts?
Okay. All right. So, Prerna, if you have any parting words, any last things that you want to say as a conclusion, you can please go ahead, and I'll move towards last bit.
I understand that a lot of you will have questions around the role, how to get into those. That is why I have personally, in the chat, I have linked my LinkedIn ID as well. So make sure you can connect with me, or you can connect with other TPMs out there. It's generally a very helpful community out there, and they will be able to help you out. You can even connect, you can go to pre-plays. There's a lot of mentors, they can help you out as well. And I hope Apna in the future also includes TPM jobs, so people can apply there as well.
Yeah.
And best of luck all of you, and please make sure get connected with me on LinkedIn or on P-Place. I might be able to help you better.
Sure. Okay, so with that, we come towards the end of today's session. Huge thank you, Prerna, for giving a valuable time, sharing your expertise, and answering all these queries. I hope people who attend the session were able to find some value and get some direction in their early stage of career. And a huge thank you to everyone who attended the session and made this a successful one. I'll quickly wrap up by saying a few things and reminding a couple of other things for future sessions as well. So, first thing, I've shared the feedback form, so do let us know how you like the session. If there's any particular topics that you want us to cover in the future as well. And you can also check out our website. We will be uploading the recording of this session there, and other sessions that we've had in the past. You can check those recordings as well. You can also check what sessions are coming up in the near future. Like we have sessions planned for tomorrow on Friday. We'll have sessions almost every day of the week now. So you can register for those from the website itself, or even from the Apna community, where we announce these posts, and all you have to do is just comment interested. So we'd love to see you all in the next session as well, and help you out in any ways that we can. You can also definitely connect with Prerna. Her LinkedIn account is linked. So if you require one-on-one mentorship, you require one-on-one conversations, do reach out. And yeah, I hope this session was helpful for everyone. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining in. Have a great night. Yeah. Thank you.